completely agree with you because it said on the syllabus that we were supposed to be at level 4 in WOW, and now on the email that I got, it said level 5, and that wasn't the only thing. There were several other things that that other students had pointed out to him as well about activities. I guess if I had to change anything, as I've already put it on a discussion board or something, the SPORE assignment is very, very easy. I think it needs to be a little bit more challenging, and my suggestion then and now would be to add something to it, not necessarily to make the requirement be to do the quest and the SPORE creature. I loved the SPORE creature, but it was very easy. But my suggestion would be to have the student either take the SPORE creature and do screenshots or whatever and put it in a story, or even better, have students partner up and write a story together using both of their creatures or however many they create, or even like our group could have made a story, kind of like we did last class, but we would use our SPORE creatures and create a story and do a video around that.
That's a really good idea. I think, like the rest of you, I was just overwhelmed with all the information, and I wasn't sure where to go to find the answers. Like in most previous classes, all assignment details were in FSO, but that wasn't always the case with the assignments in this class. Sometimes you had to go back to the course overview guide and kind of get details in there, and then sometimes you had to go to the syllabus, and then sometimes you kind of had to hunt for the information on what you were supposed to do for the assignment. I didn't like that feeling of being lost.
Well, and did you notice, too, that there were no rubrics in this class?
Yes, and that kind of bothered me, actually, because I had no focus. You know, when you got a grade, it was like, okay, well, what did I miss? Like, where was I short? And that bothered me since all the other classes just inundated us with rubrics.
The other thing I noticed, I concur that finding information in one spot would be really helpful. I mean, if you want to focus on the game guide, great, but just have all the information in the game guide. Also, sometimes I would get feedback on grades, say like in week 2 that I should have fixed something in week 3, but I'd already turned in week 3's assignments because my grading, or the grading was turned in a little bit later. I really appreciate feedback, but I'd like it to be, I want to fix, what needs to be fixed, and sometimes I've already turned in assignments.
I agree that the assignment seemed a little scattered. Going on a different route, one thing I would have liked to have seen changed is our final project is a huge part of our grade, and I would have liked to have seen it been laid out more at the beginning about how each week was going to lead into the final project. Of course, we don't leave it for the final week, but I would have liked to have seen the activities in week 1 and 2 and 3 been more specifically towards that final project. Week 1 and 2, we could use our assessment and our creative adventure will work great into it. But week 3's activities seem to be, they didn't seem to be as purposeful towards being able to use for that final assignment.
Yeah, I can see that, Bo, because it was almost like, we had all those assignments to do, and then all of a sudden you had the final project. At times it felt like you had to start from scratch, but then depending on where you were reading, it would say, oh, we'll try to use weeks 1 and 2. Well, then, okay, then you have to pull together, and I agree. It was a very massive assignment, especially if you have this really big idea, this great idea. It can be just very, very overwhelming.
And I only remember from the original orientation, or that first WIMBA, when he said, or gave the information that weeks 1 and weeks 2's assignment could build into the final project. I don't actually remember reading that, so I'm just really thankful that I listened to that, because obviously I want to make something that benefits my classroom, and certainly I don't want to have to remake everything in the 4th week if I can build upon it. So that kind of leads, though, again, to all the information in one spot.
Well, there were several times in the WIMBAs that he gave information that was either in addition or contradictory to what the game guide and the syllabus said.
Yeah, and that also kind of irritated me, because for someone who had to work ahead, I mean, heck, even if I didn't have to work ahead, if I just felt like working ahead, it would be contradictory. And I could possibly get marked down on something, and in a way, you could see being docked for something by working ahead if that information wasn't clear from the beginning. And that would kind of contradict the whole purpose of online learning is, learning at your own pace. Well, if you want to work ahead and work faster, then the information should be accurate from the beginning, or at least be allowed to resubmit or change if you do get marked down in that case.
Well, those are the things we'd like to see different. What did you guys really enjoy? What was your favorite part about the class?
I loved making my game. I'm so excited to figure out kind of the nuts and bolts, the small details to my game. I based my game and my assessment off of my first poem in my poetry unit for 2nd grade. It's Jack Perlewski's A Pizza the Size of the Sun. And it leads to, some of the words are like oceans of sauce and mountains of cheese. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. So I really look forward to the final project in my game and incorporating that in my classroom. That's by far my favorite.
I just love the fact that my homework was playing games. I could actually play a game and not have to worry about doing my homework because it was the same thing.
I liked the way the actual assignment, the delivery option was kind of up to us, whether we wanted to create a movie or a Pages document or however we felt like we could best answer the questions and do the assignment. It was kind of left up to us, and I liked that.
I really missed out having to watch the WIMBA sessions in archived because I wasn't able to talk to Dr. Siegel as much as I would have liked to. I loved how he just has fun with the class and he plays. Putting on goggles, having a corporate sponsor. It's just about how to have fun with your class and play while still getting the content and the expectations across. Any other thoughts?
Well, my favorite part of the class was creating my adventure because it forced me to go online and find something different to fit my students and what they like, my curriculum and the state standards that I will be using during the upcoming year with my students. So the adventure part and having to go online and find it and create it and build on it for my final project was probably my favorite part because I'm not a gamer. So the game part was fun, but it was the most challenging part about this class to me.
I agree. I had a lot of fun doing that. I did one where it's almost like a scavenger hunt from my school, and I love being able, especially in this master's program, designing things that we'll be able to use in our classes. I think we'll wrap things up here and say goodbye.
Goodbye.